So, there's a few things that nurses have said online that have really stuck with me. One nurse said that she constantly thinks about leaving. She constantly thinks about quitting nursing. One nurse said that she's been praying for guidance on what to do next, and another nurse said that she just wants to be happy. And the thing that all of these nurses had in common is that they wanted to leave nursing, but they didn't know how to go about that. They didn't know what to do. They felt scared. So, I remember feeling exactly like those things, and it's not a fun place to be in. Maybe you can relate to one of the things that I said, but those things really stuck with me because back when I was in that space, I couldn't see a way out for myself, and I know a lot of nurses are currently in that. They currently want to leave, but they feel like they don't even know where to start. A lot of them feel like leaving is not even an option. Okay. I remember what it's like to feel that way, and it can be very lonely. It can be a place where you feel very misunderstood. And so I just want to give you some hope in this video. If you don't know me, my name is Mel. I'm a former registered nurse. I left back in 2021. I got tired of the burnout, the misalignment, and I truly felt like I was meant to do something else. Okay. So in this video, I just want to paint a picture of what life was like for me before I decided to leave nursing, like when I was in the thick of it, practicing as a nurse, and when I actually when I decided to walk away from nursing, and what happened after I walked away from nursing. Okay. So, my intention in this video is to really paint a picture for you so that you can gain some hope for yourself. You can see that it's not just possible for me, like it's possible for you too. Okay. And I'm going to leave you with something to reflect on that hopefully will really get you moving in the direction that you really want to go in ultimately. All right. Woo. Okay. So let's first get into like what life was like for me when I was a nurse. I remember the majority of my nursing career, I felt dread about going into work, dread while I was at work, dread after work. Um, I felt a lot of anxiety. I felt a lot of pressure. And I felt just this feeling of being unfulfilled, feeling like I wanted more, but I felt stuck because I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that meant, and I didn't know how to go get that. And I even remember crying in my car before work and just like getting myself together, walking in, pretending I was okay, putting on a fake smile, putting on a brave face, but I wasn't okay. I even remember the pain, like the physical pain that I had in my body, that I used to get headaches. And a lot of people don't realize it, but the emotional pain that we carry, the mental pain, the overwhelm, like all the stuff that we carry mentally, it gets trapped in our body and we it expresses itself as physical pain sometimes. So there was that physical pain. And then there was also this numbness that I felt. I feel like nursing trains us to be able to like carry a lot, to be able to hold a lot of weight, to be able to hold a lot of pressure. And especially if you work in like in a hospital, like when I worked in the ICU, I remember seeing my first like actual patient die. And it was just so like sudden, it was so unexpected. It was a couple of like the first deaths that I saw were like very traumatic. So there's that component of it. And I feel like it desensitizes you in a sense because you get so used to seeing like this trauma and like these crazy things happen, and it becomes normal for you. And I know for me, like I became numb to a lot of my emotions. I remember when it used to be hard for me to like cry or to let out my emotions. Okay. So there were some things that I had to let go of, but the things that I've gained, the things that I've gained have been so much greater than what I had to let go of. All right. And the first thing that comes to mind when I think about like what I had to let go of when once I walked away from nursing was this first, it was the nurse identity. And with that came some grief because I worked so hard to get to the point of becoming a nurse. I worked so hard to get to that nurse identity. And it was difficult for me too because so many people they they praise you for being a nurse. They feel um proud of you for being a nurse. You know, nursing is seen as like this respectable career. So there was that component of it where I grieved this part of my identity because I worked so hard to get there. But like I said, what I gained was way greater than that once I like went through the motions and I did what I needed to do to really grieve that identity. But I also had to let go of this version of success that was being placed on me. This version of success This version of success that I thought I had to stick with by any means necessary. This version of success that has been planted into us since we're children. And I had to like rip out like the layers. I had to like really see who I was and discover who I was underneath the identity and the success and the pressure and like all the expectations of what not only society, but family members and even myself were placing on me at that time. Okay. So I had to let go of that version of success that everybody else was going for that I thought was the only way to go. And I had to I really had to rediscover who I was. I had to rediscover what it was that I truly valued. And I had to formulate my version of success around that, around what I really valued, around how I really wanted to feel. Because I know that I didn't value feeling anxiety and stress and burnout and just being unhappy all the time. I didn't value that. I didn't value the things that came with that nurse identity that I was in. So I'm like, all right, we need to make some changes because we can't stay here. We cannot stay here. So the things that I've gained are things that are literally priceless. Like you can't put a price tag on them. And I know like a lot of nurses feel like they don't want to walk away from nursing because of like the financial component. And I feel like I feel like that keeps a lot of nurses stuck because they don't realize that there's what they're giving up or what they're sacrificing for that. And I used to like feel a way around finances too when it came to like nursing and having that quote unquote financial stability from nursing. I say quote unquote because what you have to give in order to get that, and they don't even pay you enough if we being like for real, for real. But what you have to give in exchange to get that is literally self-sacrifice. So I just had to like really put things into perspective. And I didn't realize all of this until like after I walked away and just seeing once I walked away, I was able to really see things clearly. I was able to see the game that was being played on my life. Like I was able to see the bigger picture. So I was able to when I really walked away and I really like did the inner work, I did the healing, I was able to gain a peace of mind. I was able to gain my time back. I was able to be able to like wake up in the morning and genuinely feel excited about life and about my day and about what it was that I had going on. I was able to gain a sense of fulfillment and happiness within, which is priceless. I was also able to like my mental and my physical health when I say it did a complete 360. Is it 360 or 180? It did a complete turnaround because like I mentioned, like the dread, the anxiety, like the constant overwhelm and exhaustion that wasn't something that I wanted to continue to carry. Like, that wasn't something that I wanted to keep doing long term to myself. And I know you don't wanna do it either. Like, we don't want to do that, but sometimes we feel like we have to do that. Sometimes we feel like we have to stay in it or show up a certain way, or we just have to, like, follow these rules and stay in this box that was placed onto us. And I'm so passionate about speaking about this because, excuse me, you were never meant to stay in a box. You were never meant to settle for less than what you truly want and what you truly deserve. You were never meant to sacrifice yourself in the name of whatever, whether it's money, recognition, status. You were never meant to sacrifice yourself for those things. And this isn't like a thing about this isn't a thing about not being not getting to a place where you're like, this isn't about not let me relax and get my words together. This isn't about shaming finances or like anything like that, because you want to be able to get paid, you want to be able to have peace, you want to be able to have profits, you want to be able to do it in a way that honors who you are, that honors what you value, that honors how you truly want to feel. Nobody wants to sacrifice themselves for anything, and you don't have to. So that just made me think of another belief that makes me think of a belief that I had to let go of, which was that I had to work hard or that I had to sacrifice or that I had to burn out in order to be successful, in order to have good money, good money, because that's subjective. But that's just a belief that you don't have to accept. That's just a belief. There's so much evidence of people out there killing it, doing the damn thing, who are wealthy and well rested. It just made me think about like the people who work the hardest, they don't get paid the most. Even when you think about like doctors, that's a perfect example. Nurses, like you already know as a nurse, like we're responsible for most of the work. You're responsible for most of the work in many different roles. Like you don't just carry the role of a nurse, you carry the role of the therapist, the friend, so many different things. You're not just the nurse. But doctors don't spend nearly as much time with the patients, but they get paid significantly more. So that's just an example. But I digress. So some of the other things that I have gained since walking away from nursing, like I said, have been my happiness, my peace of mind, just like this sense of mental clarity. And I said I used to be like really anxious as a nurse, and I used to like feel this pressure, but that has significantly the pressure. I don't feel pressure now. I don't feel that pressure now. And I feel like my relationships have significantly improved. The type of people that I attract have significantly improved. I don't feel pain in my body anymore. Like I don't get those headaches that I used to get headaches every single day. Well, most days as a nurse. It feels like every single day. I used to just be in some type of pain every day. But now it's like, I'm like, wow. Like you ever just feel good in your body? Like your whole body just feels at peace. Your body, your mind. And that's what I want for you. Like I genuinely want you to Be able to create a life for yourself where you feel fulfilled, where you feel happy, where you feel like you know what your values are and you're honoring your values. Because a lot of people, myself included, I didn't know what my values well, my values before I didn't even think of it as a thing, but my values before, like when I was a nurse, were all about like that version of success that other people placed onto me that I thought that I had to um create for myself. But now my values really are like the quality time that I get to spend with myself and with my family, with my friends. I like my values truly are my mental peace, my physical health, my mental health. Because those, like, what are we doing this for? That's why we're doing this. And it's so ironic because so many people are like working themselves into a grave and working so hard, but they're not even able to really enjoy the fruits of their labor. They're not able to really enjoy quality time with the people that they love the most because they're always tired and stressed and burned out, and they're not able to really give themselves fully. They're not able to be present with the people who matter the most, with the people they're doing all of this for. So the irony is that you're working so hard for this version of success or for this identity, but you're not able to really share it in the ways that you're craving. You're not able to really I'll be getting passionate about this. You're not able to really share it with the people who matter to you the most. They're not getting you, like, they're not really feeling you. I love to talk about how back when I was practicing as a nurse, I remember it's 2 things that are sticking out for me right now that I remember that I wanna talk about real quick. So one was, my baby niece, she was, like, recording this video of me, and this was when I was in my first nursing job, and she was just like, "Hey, there go auntie," and she was so small and cute, and I was just, like, on the bed, just, like, looking so miserable. I didn't even look at her. I looked so stressed out, and I'm just like, "Wow." Like, I feel for her. I feel for that version of myself, and I feel for that version of my niece because she wasn't able to, like, feel me or get the bubbly, energized, playful auntie version of me that she gets now. And then there's another moment that I think of, my oldest niece, she told me that she was like, "Wow, auntie, like, I didn't realize that you were this fun. I didn't realize you had this much personality," because all she remembered growing up was me just being so, like, future focused on becoming a nurse, and once I became a nurse, like, that's the all I had time for was the 12-hour shifts. Trying to recover on my days off from those 12-hour shifts, running around, just always having a bunch of stuff on my to-do list. But for her to say that to me, like, I know for her it wasn't a big deal when she said that, but I'll never like, I won't forget that moment because I was a different person when I was practicing nursing. Like, completely different person. My identity, the version of me then was completely different than the version of me now. And it's not like I have everything figured out or everything like perfectly put together, but now the people who like I really care about, the people who matter to me the most get to really see me, get to really feel me, get to really discover who I am. And it was crazy because I got to discover who I was underneath the burnout, underneath the constant stress, underneath the dread, the anxiety, because I used to confuse that with who I was. I used to think that my personality was just the the version of me who was just always exhausted and tired and stressed, who didn't really have a personality, who was always numb to her emotions. But that wasn't who I truly was. That was just the burnout was so heavy, I couldn't see myself. Like, my mental, like, I didn't have the capacity to see who I truly was underneath all the stress and stuff. Whew. So, this journey of leaving nursing, going on to start several different businesses and getting into entrepreneurship and learning what it is that I valued and what it is that I wanted and the version of success that I truly desired for myself. Like, that whole journey, I always say, is not just about leaving a career. That's that's just that's just like the tip of the iceberg. And for me, leaving nursing allowed me to go on this whole journey of self-discovery and personal development and figuring out who I really was underneath all the burnout, underneath that false personality of anxiety, stress, dread. All of that wasn't normal. And I used to think it was normal. I know a lot of nurses feel like that's normal, but it's not normal. It's not normal to be tired and drained and stressed and to wake up and dread your day. Just because it's common don't mean that it's normal. So, I had to, like, unlearn a bunch of all the junk that was in my head, all these beliefs from other people that I picked up on what I had to do and who I had to be. Like, I had to get rid of all of that. So this journey isn't about just leaving a career, it's about literally coming back home to yourself. It's about really discovering who you are and who you want to be. It's all about this identity shift. And the beautiful thing is you get to decide that. Like, you get to redecide that. Cuz I know a lot of us got caught up in this version of success that we thought we had to go after. This identity we thought we had to go after. But once you're aware that you don't have to settle for that, if that's truly something that you don't want to do, if you truly feel misaligned with your current career, if you truly feel misaligned with nursing, you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay stuck in that identity. And I heard a quote earlier from I was watching this video from Neuro Knowledge. I love him to death. And he said that what was the quote he said? I wrote it down. He said that you either live life by default or by design. And a lot of people are living life by default. I was too, instead of designing the life that they truly want to live. So a lot of the times the default life looks like go to school, like it looks like checking off these boxes. You go to school, you get good grades, you get the degree. Some of it includes like that white picket fence vision. And then it's just like you just checking off all these boxes and you're trying to get to this destination. And when you get there, it's like, oh snap, like I did all of this work. I put all this time, energy, and effort into this default version of my life that I was told that I should go after, but I don't want this life. So I wrote a Substack article around about like what do you do when the life that you work so hard for ends up being a life that you don't actually want, because this is so many people's reality, but so many people will never speak on this. So many people will never admit this to themselves, and they'll just put on this fake brave face throughout the day and pretend that everything is okay. But when it's just them alone, that's when like the walls come down. That's when they truly have to sit in the uncomfortability that they don't truly feel fulfilled with life. They don't truly like where they are. And it's crazy because the thing that keeps so many people stuck, so many nurses stuck, is that they realize that they don't that like they're in this spot where they don't really love their lives. They don't really like who they are. They don't like that they're so unhappy, but they'll stay in it because they think that this is the only way. They think that they have to stay in it. And I used to be that nurse. Like, that's why I'm so passionate about talking about this, because if I can just free or help free mentally, physically, like if I can just help one nurse realize that she is not stuck, that she has the power to do things differently. She has the power to design a life that she truly loves. Because a lot of nurses are settling and doing what looks good on paper, settling for that life that only looks good on paper, but doesn't feel good in their bodies, that doesn't feel good mentally, physically, emotionally, that doesn't feel good to their souls. So, if you are that nurse and you feel like you're stuck, you feel like you truly want to get out of the burnout, you truly want to stop feeling trapped in your nurse identity. This is the work that I do. Like, this is what I help nurses with. This is the deeper work, the deeper identity work, the deeper design your life type of work that we go into inside of phase 4 of my confidence to quit nursing framework. Because so many nurses who end up leaving nursing, they end up leaving nursing just to take all of the stuff, all of the baggage that they picked up in nursing, and they end up taking it with them wherever they go. And I was that nurse. Like, I ended up taking the burnout with me in my first few businesses because I didn't like I a lot of nurses don't realize that you have to unlearn this stuff. Cuz right now it's on autopilot. Right now your subconscious mind is used to like the burnout patterns and the stress and the struggle and like all of the dread and anxiety. So we have to really peel back the layers and unlearn the things that are making you feel stuck. So, if you that nurse who needs to go from being burned out, stressed, anxious, feeling stuck in a career that you know you've been outgrown, and you want to go to the identity or the version of yourself who feels confident in her decisions, feels that she can make the decisions that are best for her. If you want to go to that version of yourself who is like, I know that I can choose myself. I know that I can prioritize my mental, my physical health, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get there, then I'm here to help you. And that's exactly what we do inside of my Confidence to Quit Nursing Signature Program. It's 4 weeks of just really becoming that woman, stepping from that identity that you're currently feeling stuck in into the version of yourself who chooses herself, because that's what this life is truly all about. Like, this is your life. We literally get one life to live. And I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I just woke up feeling super grateful for life and for the fact that I get to live this life. Last year in 2025, like, my family lost so many family members, and it was a crazy year. And it just puts things into perspective for me about where my energy goes to, and like, just we really have to do what it takes to enjoy our lives, to design our lives, to not live life by default, and to not live life by other people's standards or expectations. And I was just thinking the other morning, like, I really don't know how long, like, we don't know how long we have. We don't know. And this is not to like scare you or to be like morbid or anything, but that's all the more reason to do whatever it takes to make sure you're living your life for you. Cause this is your life. It's not your mom's life. It's not your partner's life. It's not whoever's life your you feel like would judge you if you decide to walk away from nursing. If you're somebody who wants to leave nursing, like, it's not their lives. It's your life. So, if you want to learn more about the Confidence to Quit Nursing Signature Program, I'm going to leave the link down below. But I want to leave you with this question. What does life feel like for you, like right now, most days? How do you wake up feeling? How do you wake up feeling? How do you feel throughout the day? How do you feel when you go to lay down at night? And do you want to continue feeling this way this time next year? February 17th of 2027, a year from now. Are you okay with like feeling exactly how you feel next year? Let me know down in the comments. I'm going to post this to my page. Thank you so much for joining me. If you joined, let me know what resonated for you. Let me know what lit you up. Let me know if you got any questions, because this is a conversation that I feel like more people need to be having, because I don't want you don't have to settle. Okay. So I'll see you next time. Bye.